Hey guys, how we doing? I'm Tyler Bowles with Kingdom Connections, and I'm joined by the famous Alan Williams. Alan, how are you, sir?
Famous. I hear you. I am doing great, sir. Doing
We,
great. To be here all week signing autographs.
we better be really famous after this episode.
Ooh.
So, in case you didn't know, it is the Monday before Valentine's Day. Boys, girls, cats, and squirrels.
Attention, attention. Men.
Yeah. So, I just wanted to take a few minutes today, and we're going to talk about some great advice for what to do for your Valentine's Day adventures.
Right.
You know, one thing that you can't go wrong with is getting the candy that you know she doesn't like, because really you're the sweetest thing in her life, right?
Mm.
You know, because when she doesn't have the candy she really wanted, you the sweetest thing that's there, you know?
That's right.
I mean, you might get something thrown at you. You might get a little hate from it.
Right.
But what it does is it puts you to where you're like, yeah, but I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you focusing on the candy when you should be focusing on me?
Mm.
You know?
That might be in a card, you know? Just
Right.
there you go. Hallmark.
Yeah.
If you listen.
Or, you know, in my household, we're all about being frugal. Why you got to go to Olive Garden when you can go to McDonald's?
Oh, no. Get the two McFish. You know, and you know, you can find the misspelt hearts sometimes too at a discount rate.
Yeah, or you get the flowers that are already starting to die and they mark them down at Food Lion. You got to get the ones at Food Lion. Don't go to the flower shops.
Right.
Go to Food Lion right there at the front. They don't put them in the water anyway, so the longer you wait, the more they die, which means the price comes down a little bit.
Yeah.
All you got to do is put them in water and it come back up, right?
Yeah.
You're saving money. She's still getting flowers.
Mm-hmm.
What's the problem?
Hey. Oh, and you know the state started planting those wildflowers along the highway everywhere. Just saying.
Start pick. Just don't get caught.
Well, I know, but you know.
I wonder. I guess it would be a crime, right? If you take those flowers and the state plants them, they're property of the state.
Maybe. I've seen people though on the side of the road getting like blueberries and stuff. So, have you never seen that?
Where on the interstate is there blueberries?
Like just where a wood line's at or something.
I've never seen anybody do that. I've seen people pick the flowers.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more romantic than having to have your spouse bail you out of jail because you stole flowers. But, you know, the way that...
Or plant a rose bush in your backyard. You always have them.
Oh, Lord.
Just put them in a vase.
Yeah, until you're like me and you end up weed eating them. Anyways.
I feel like I'm running a shovel over here. Right.
Shoveling dirt, just digging a deep...
Well, and I tell you, if you get those kid packs of cards that you used to hand out in school, I mean, that'll last you for years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The Batman ones are really cool.
Yes. But then I always would get stuff like, so you get the real cool ones, right? Like I always had the Star Wars one because I'm a Star Wars nut.
Yeah.
But then you get the weird ones where like they give you popcorn balls. And I'm like, that's a Halloween thing. Why are we getting it for Valentine's Day?
I want to be careful because I do not want to upset anybody. This is just off in left field. You know, I tend to do that once in a while. But I was the kid that, man, I was not happy if I rolled up to your house and said trick or treat and you hand me a popcorn ball. Come on, man. A Reese's or something, you know, that was me. I'm not saying your heart wasn't in it, but as a kid, I was like, man, no.
Or, oh gosh, I don't even remember what movie it was. It was the Adam Sandler movie. Mm-hmm. He took his kid trick-or-treating and the guy he took his watch off his wrist, which was just like a Timex, puts it in his bag and then like just starts dumping in some Life cereal.
Oh, wow. Wow. Man, we swung. I took a hard turn right there, didn't I? Went from Valentine's to Halloween.
Popcorn balls.
Yeah.
I mean, but the gift keeps on giving, though.
There you go. Leftover Halloween candy.
There you go. So don't throw it out.
Christmas
don't
candy canes.
Yes. And what you can do, right? Again, saving money. We're all about saving money, live better. Walmart. You take your candy canes and you put them at an angle and it makes a heart.
Wow.
See?
Crafting 101.
There you
That's
go.
what I'm talking about. It's handmade. It means more if it's handmade.
And then you don't even have to get a card.
Right.
You put it on a piece of paper, get you a crayon, get you a crayon,
right.
Write your significant other's name on it and say, with love and candy canes.
There you go.
You're saving money.
There you go.
She's still getting candy canes. It's in a heart shape, so now it's Valentine's Day themed.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And if you're really good, you get her like, if you really want to get her a good gift, get some like coupons to go to the grocery store. And then just be like, hey, we need to start having more home cooking. So, here you go. Saving money. We'll eat better. And while you're at it, if you follow these great steps from us unlicensed marriage counselors, while you're at Lowe's, because every man goes to Lowe's, make sure that you go pick up a dog kennel and some wood chips and go ahead and set it up in the backyard.
Yeah.
For the dog, obviously, not for you, right?
Yeah. Right.
Like, did people really get put in the doghouse? Maybe after that?
Yeah. I don't know. Some people got these fancy man caves, but I don't know. I would think you'd be in the doghouse for sure. And it's cold. Right now, this time of year, it's cold. So,
but in the South, it could change, right?
Oh, it could change in a minute. I mean, from 60 one day to, teens the next day.
Snow.
Yeah. Well, we're not talking about snow. We're not talking about snow. Come on.
Okay.
The Grinch has been taken off now, so we need to. No, I'm messing. Oh,
well, obviously, guys, if you cannot tell, we are kidding. Please do not do these things.
Absolutely.
Unless you just want to. I would not advise it. But
do it at your own risk, gentlemen.
Do it at your own risk. Again, disclaimer: do not do these things, because I know that sometimes people will tune in, they'll tune out, and then tune back in for a second. Do not do any of what we just said.
And if you tuned in and you didn't listen to the whole thing, whoo, I feel for you.
I can just picture that conversation. Like, I heard this on a podcast today.
Yeah.
You show up like, here, hon, I got you a card, and it's just like a piece of construction paper with two candy canes glued.
Yeah. You can get by with that to a certain age, but yeah, I think there comes a time you got to, you got to get away from that a little bit, right? And my craft projects ain't as cute as they used to be, right?
No, I mean, just to tell you how my craft projects were as a kid, they got thrown away.
Right.
So my stuff never got kept. Okay.
Never on the refrigerator.
But okay.
Never on the refrigerator.
I wouldn't say never. I was not an artist.
Okay.
So I didn't do a lot of crafts.
Right.
I did what was required in school. And even then it was just like bare minimum.
Like the macaroni art?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Or one big thing we did, and I think it's still like hanging in my closet in my old bedroom. It's so they wrote my name in cursive, and then what you do is you outline it. It's like you just start going around the outline in different colored pencils until you get it all around the whole picture, and then so you got like all these different colors, and it's your name. That's
wow.
Anyway,
cool.
Yeah, but that was about it. I didn't really do much macaroni art. Just wasn't my jam.
Oh. Well, that kind of nixes my next question, because I was going to ask you, did you ever taste any of those macaroni roll when you were doing it?
No, but what I did.
Did you make necklaces or anything growing up at any point?
I'm trying to think. Maybe. Yeah. I'm not going to say no.
It seemed like we did that stuff in school. I don't know. Maybe it's watching my kids do it, but I did see it.
Now, one thing I did do one time. So I was in the 5th grade, so I should have known better. We made our own Play-Doh.
That's how every good story begins anyway.
I should have known better.
Oh, yeah.
Or in the 5th grade.
Oh, yeah.
Or both.
Yeah.
But we made our own Play-Doh, and I don't even remember what all was in it. I know it was Kool-Aid for the color. And it gave it like a cherry scent. Baking, it was like baking soda, salt, all kinds of stuff.
Oh, wow.
Well, you were talking about eating the macaroni art. Right. Keep in mind, art teacher was like, hey, whatever you do, Do not eat these. It will not taste good. I know it smells good. It smells like Kool-Aid. I promise you, it does not taste like Kool-Aid. I did not hear that.
No, of course not.
It went through one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, man, this thing smells like Kool-Aid.
That ain't Kool-Aid.
No. Dude, that made me so sick.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my God. Because it just tasted like straight up salt. Just straight salt.
Yeah, that'll get you. That'll get you every time.
And because of that, so when we go to the beach, if I get if I get hit by a wave and I get salt water in my mouth, it immediately takes me back to that moment in the 5th grade.
Wow.
It is, I can't explain it, man.
Wow.
Cannot explain it.
So you could honestly say that art had an impression on you.
Just not in a good way.
Hey, but yeah, and if y'all think this is good, join us next week. We'll be doing scrapbooking on the craft show here. No,
has some different camera angles, like pointing down.
Right. No, but there was a time, my mom thought it was cute, when I was little, to bring home the little handmade Valentines, and there's gonna be a lot of kids doing that, and I encourage you guys to. I can't speak to the ladies, but I can speak to the guys. Make sure you do something for the little ones too.
Yeah.
Help them do something special.
Yeah. Well, and so now going on to the serious part.
All right, let's get to it. All right, let me get my serious face on. Hang on. Okay,
I know.
go ahead.
I'm trying not to make it turn back the other way.
Everybody was looking in suspense. No, this is the only face you get, unfortunately. Sorry.
Oh gosh. But it does set a precedent, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And like we're joking about the candy and stuff. Obviously, like I don't understand it. So we talked about going into debt during Christmas. People do it during Valentine's Day too, though, man.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Because I think like people buy jewelry and all kinds of stuff.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
And again, just like I said during the Christmas episode, if you have the means to do it, just like having the GMC in the driveway like we talked about, or the Ford for you, even though it may not run.
Oh, tune in for another episode.
Yeah, I know.
That was a low blow.
I had to throw it in there.
That's all right. That's all right.
But if you have the means to do it, do it. If not, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
What Valentine's Day, and I joke around with my wife about Valentine's Day because I'm like, really the only reason Valentine's Day is a thing is because it boosts the economy briefly.
Oh yeah.
On the like actual, buying candy and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it does serve as a good reminder to show appreciation for that spouse. And you should do it every day.
Mm-hmm. But
I do think it is good to like every now and then just show a little bit of extra appreciation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether it be in the monetary things, or it could just be that, maybe your spouse comes home to a like unusually clean house that they didn't have to do any work in. They just come home and everything's put away. Dishes are clean. Trash is taken out,
Yeah.
On the guy's side of things anyway,
I feel as your brother, though, I have to warn you, that there are certain ones listening to this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanting to make sure before you finish filling out that check there.
Yeah. What,
No, I agree with you 100%. I'm just messing.
But really, it's all about showing appreciation.
Right.
Whether it be in buying candy, buying flowers, all that is great.
Yeah.
If your significant other loves flowers, go buy her flowers if you can do it.
Right.
Or go pick some. Go pick them off the highway. We ain't going to snitch.
Right.
Because, all right, look, they do put some good money in those flowers. They do look really good. Why not have some in the windowsill? That's all I'm saying.
Hey, that's
I don't advocate for criminal acts. I'm just kidding.
Right. Which they may look better at 60 mile an hour than they do up close. I don't know.
They may. You were very right. Like I was picking about the Food Line flowers. If that's all you can do, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. And I mean that on a all serious note.
Hey, been there, done that.
I have too. I have too.
I ain't gonna lie.
Again, it's an appreciation.
May
thing.
do it again.
Yeah.
I mean, hey,
you never know.
Right.
Or you go to the flower shops and everything's gone. That happens too.
And that's why you're getting this advance warning. You got a few days left, gentlemen.
Yes, start planning accordingly. But it also it almost makes me think, and I know we talked about it before we started recording everything. What greater example of showing love and appreciation for somebody than looking at the dynamic between Jesus and the church, right?
Yeah.
Because I think it's a fundamental principle that you loved your wife or your husband as Christ loved the church.
Right.
And what's the ultimate thing that Jesus did was he gave his life. Even the Bible says that greater love has no man than this.
Right.
That he lays down his life for his friends.
Right.
How much more would you do for a spouse? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And like obviously there's nothing greater that you can do, but it's a thought process of
absolutely.
it. You know, so however that might be. It may be that, you know, she tells you something, and when most people would blow up about it, you don't blow up about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's those little things to where you can have conversations and you can talk about things that may be uncomfortable, but it's still in a loving manner. Like, hey, this isn't going to be an easy conversation, but I still love you at the end of it, regardless.
Right.
You know,
right. Absolutely,
because that's how the Lord is with us.
Right.
We should want to go to the Lord with all of our issues and all of our ailments, and regardless of how it makes us feel, we know that as long as we ask for forgiveness or whatever the case is, you know, we're never going to outrun grace.
Right.
You know, so we know that we can come to him when we mess up, or we need to come to him at any time, but specifically when we mess up, when things are uncomfortable, when things are hard. And we know that there is a love there that is unmatched.
Wow.
And setting that precedent in your home too, for your spouse, for your kids, that they know, like, hey, I messed up. I need to go tell them so that we can have this conversation, because I know they're not going to think any less of me.
Right.
They're not going to love me any less.
Right.
You know, it's a huge thing to be able to establish in your home.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And if you love them as Christ loved the church, in return, that love is going to come back to you. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is that, you know, you don't have to buy it. You don't have to, you know, it's cultivated. So, you know, we pick and cut up and all that. But again, it's just to reiterate what you said, it's not about what you buy. Now that's not a get out of jail free card. You still need to do something special, whether or not, I mean, if it's just taking a few extra moments of time with them on that day, not just that day, but make it a point to, I don't know, set aside that time, because you need that time as a couple. And right now we are speaking to the married folk, but I do want to, this time of year, a lot of times people can get a little down if they don't have that significant other, or they don't have somebody else like that. But hey, you know, God loves you, you know, and I just wanted to get that in there, and you're no less. I think we get this thing that we're not complete without somebody else, and God made us complete. Mm-hmm. Now, you know, we're complete, and I mean, His creation, we're complete. And I say that because, you know, I know a lot of people struggle with that, especially this time of year, right?
Yeah.
Valentine's Day, land of the couples kind of thing, you know, and you feel isolated or out, you know, sometimes. But hey, take this moment to treat yourself. You are the bride of Christ.
That's it.
You know?
That's it. And don't get me wrong. I was going to talk to the single people too. I know you were.
And I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry. You gotta get good. Like a stop sign or something over there.
No, I'm just gonna like have an air horn just like underneath the table.
Yeah, you know, I got the truck driving background, so that, you know, I may not even pay attention to it.
Yeah, but no, you're absolutely right. And as far as the single thing goes, so I didn't date a lot, so it just, I don't know, it just wasn't my thing. Like, I remember in high school and even in college, it was, I don't know, man. It seemed like everybody was dating, and you talk to them one week and they're dating somebody, talk to them another week and they're dating somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
I never did that.
Yeah.
And did I get down about it? Sure I did.
Oh yeah.
Sure I did. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
We're made to be with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah.
that's why Eve was made from Adam's rib.
Right.
You know,
We're made to have relationships.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's totally normal to feel that way.
Right.
But it had gotten to a point, and I want to say this just so people don't make the same mistakes that I did, and I'll be, more than happy to be transparent about it.
Mm-hmm.
That longing for that, I made some mistakes as a result.
Right.
And I don't want people to make the same mistakes. And I found myself in situations that I shouldn't have found myself in.
Mm-hmm.
And it ultimately made the depression worse. It made the feeling of loneliness worse because there was nothing that you can do to fill that void.
Right.
And so I finally just made the resolve. I said, Lord, you know what? Like you were talking about treating yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I got to a point I was so broken that I hated myself.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that happens to a lot of people. And I'm telling you, I'm a poster child for it.
Right.
Because relationships didn't work out here, didn't work out there. When I did try to date, I oftentimes looked in the mirror and was just disgusted at myself. I'm like, is it something that I'm doing? Am I doing something wrong?
Right.
Like, why does nobody want to even give me the time of day to even sit down and have a conversation or, go have a coffee or whatever.
Right.
And I kept thinking like, oh, the issue must be me. The issue must be me.
Right.
And I felt so broken and I felt so lonely because of it.
Right.
And I just want to talk to those out there who are feeling like they're in this same boat. There will come a point to where if you're like me, I come to a crossroads.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I told the Lord, I said, you know what? If I'm single the rest of my life,
right,
I'm going to better myself.
There you go.
I'm going to treat myself because I know who I am in you.
Right.
It doesn't take another person to make you the apple of God's eye. You are still the apple of God's eye.
Right.
You are still cherished. You are still loved.
Mm-hmm.
He gave his one and only son so that you can have life and have it more abundantly.
Right.
You have a citizenship in heaven to where your father owns a cattle on 1,000 hills and you are royalty and you are now joint heirs with Jesus, as scripture says. Mm-hmm. There are so many things about you that if it all filled your head at one time, it couldn't contain it.
Amen.
And so I finally had this point. I said, I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to just better myself. And when the opportunity arises, mm-hmm. I'll be ready.
Right.
And it wasn't long after I made that resolve. And I say it wasn't long. I mean, I don't know the exact time frame, but it's not like it happened the next day.
Right.
But I worked on things and I healed from things and I started feeling better about myself and I wasn't depressed anymore. And then lo and behold, my wife come along.
Right.
Because I will tell you this too. I think the Lord is very particular about how he reveals things to people and when he decides like, okay, they're ready for this.
Right.
Because if he gave us everything that he wanted us to have in one moment, we wouldn't know what to do with ourselves.
We would be overwhelmed. We couldn't.
And we'd squander it away.
Right.
Let's just be honest.
Right.
And so those of you who are in that boat to where you're like, man, it's Valentine's Day and I'm single again.
Right.
Don't look at it that way. Mm-hmm. There are so many ways that you can improve yourself and better yourself and treat yourself.
Right, absolutely.
Remember who you are in him.
Right.
There, and I even did, there are some Bible plans you can find on the Bible app. I did those for a while, just talking about identity and our identity in Christ and the fact that we are loved and all of these different things. And I just repeated it to myself daily.
Right.
And at some point it'll stick.
Right.
But don't let it get you down.
Right.
Just understand that your day is coming.
Right.
And use this time to better yourself. So when she or he comes along,
right,
you're in a much better place.
Absolutely.
And you're going to know how to handle that accordingly.
Yeah.
I had even, I looked at things like, what is it to be a godly, and keep in mind, I hadn't started dating yet. What is it to be a godly husband? What is it to be a godly father and to raise up a family? I hadn't had kids yet.
Right.
But I began to look at these things and learn these things and really develop these ideologies because I knew at some point they would become relevant.
Right.
and I'm glad that I did.
Right.
So I would encourage anybody out there who's in that same boat to do that. You'll get something from it, I promise.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think too, it kind of ties into some of the stuff that we mentioned in our last episode and being unique and being who we are. But at the same time, I think we got to become the person that we're okay being alone with. I don't know. That sounded deep in my head. I don't know if that's deep or not, but just to be that person, and because I wrestled with the same thing. I've said that many times here, self-esteem and all that stuff, and a lot of times rejection, or when things didn't go the way I thought they would go, was just fuel to the fire.
Yeah,
right. It just kind of highlighted all those things that I was already struggling with, and I wish they say hindsight, is always better. Looking back, you can see where, I wish I could thump that teenage me on the head and say, "Hey, boy, it's okay. You're okay." And but I think we gotta be that person that we're okay with us, and like you said, we got to keep working on us. And you may be out there, and it's like Brother Paul in the Bible, right? It may be. That just may not be in the cards for you. It may not even be what you're really wanting. You're just wanting to be all you can be for God right now.
Yeah.
And, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if that is something that you do desire, I think, and you're single at the moment, we need to spend our time praying for that person. I heard a man of God teaching some young men one time, and he said, you need to pray for your wife now. And these were like 12, 13-year-old boys. Said, pray for her now, just as if you were already married. Pray for her now. Yeah. That God is preparing her, right? And most of the time, maybe sometime I'll share the whole story, but it's like when me and Amy met, it was, we couldn't have orchestrated it. It just happened. Like, we didn't go to school together. We didn't grow up together. It was just, we happened to work at the same place at the same time, completely different departments. And it just so happened one night I was assigned to her department, and we got to talking, and when, it just kind of went from there. So, wasn't even looking there, really, not at work. And it just so happened. How it works. And it's just like, wow, so, but I wish I'd have known that then. I really do. I wish that teenage boy that was beating myself up was spending time working on me and praying for the one that would come into my life, Yep. And thank God he has been gracious to me and blessed me, but far more than I could ever deserve. But I married up, brother. I ain't gonna lie. I married up.
Yeah.
But you listen. I hope you listen to Amy too, by the way. But yeah, absolutely, I did. But yeah, I mean, I think so many times, again, we if we would just learn to work on us, even as now that I'm married, working on me improves us. You know what I mean?
Does,
because I can be better for her. I can be better for those around us. So, working on me is always now don't use that as an excuse not to buy her a gift or spend time with her. Oh, I'm just working on me. No, that ain't what I'm talking about. But you know what I'm saying. Just if I'm following God, if I'm praying, if I'm seeking Him, then I learn how He loved the church, and then in return I can love her like He loved the church. So it goes back to what you said.
That's it.
So.
That's it. Right. And I will tell you this too. It will not always be, I know, like you said, the way that y'all met, it was not like a Hallmark movie. And I'm not going to get on that tangent, but it was not like a Hallmark movie. And I've found, and because that was my experience too, I've found that in most cases, that is not the case. It's going to be when you least expect it.
But do you feel like people set themselves up for that though? Like they see this,
oh yeah,
what the world thinks love is, and they're like, they're looking for that moment,
looking for a fairy tale.
Right.
Honestly, I mean, I know that sounds kind of blunt, but
right.
People. It's like people think that when you see them, you're just gonna like both of y'all are gonna look at each other with heart eyes, and like the stars are gonna align.
Right.
It doesn't happen that way. So, And I don't even know if have I ever told you how me and my wife met?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
So buckle in. It's a funny
Okay,
story. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull my seat up.
Uh-oh.
Okay. So hopefully my wife didn't kill me for this, but we'll find out. I'm already in the doghouse for the first part of the episode anyway. So it's fine. So fun fact, when I first met her, I'll be honest with you, I didn't like her. Like I didn't like her as a person to the point, and she knows this. I've had this conversation with her. It's nothing new to her.
But not on air.
Yeah. Well, but it's fine.
It's all right, brother. It's all right.
But trust me, there's a point to it.
I'm just messing with
There's a point to it.
Go ahead.
So originally when I met her, it was because her and my mom worked together, right?
Mm-hmm.
She become very close to my mom and my sister. She ended up orchestrating and facilitating an event for my sister. Somehow, some way, some information did not get relayed to me that I was supposed to do something. Mm-hmm. And therefore, I did not do whatever it was that she was wanting me to do. And she let me know about it in front of God and everybody. And there was like a room full of people. And I said, you know what? When you can talk to me like you got some sense, we'll continue this conversation. And I walked out and slammed the door.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No.
So for months, now keep in mind, she was still best friends with my mom and my sister. I was still living at home at the time. So anytime she would come over, I intentionally left the house. Like it was that bad. I'm like, no, I'm not going to be there at the same time.
Wow.
So, but over time, I can't explain it, man. Like if you'd have told me at that time, like that's going to be your wife, I guarantee you I'd have laughed at you.
Yeah.
But something happened over time to where when I started praying for my spouse and I said, okay, God, show me what it is to be a loving husband, to lead a family, what it is to have a godly spouse, the things to look for in that spouse. And she started coming to church here. Right. And I don't know, man, just the more I was around her, those feelings faded. And I was like, maybe, just maybe. I was like, let's just go see if she'll go out on a date with me. And then the rest of it was history, man.
Wow.
But it started with that.
Wow.
To the point where when she showed up, I left, man.
Wow.
So it may not always
His grace is sufficient, brother.
Yes. Yes. So it may not always be in the way that you think. And I love my wife to death. I would do anything in the world for her.
Right.
I would, comb the world over multiple times to do whatever that she asked me to do, if it's feasible,
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't imagine life without her.
Absolutely.
If you'd asked me that 6, 7 years ago, you might be in a different boat. But no, man. God has a way of surprising you.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he very much has a way of surprising you. And I wasn't expecting that to be the thing that it was, but like I said, I couldn't imagine my life without her. Wouldn't even want to dream about even thinking about having this life as with anybody else as a partner. I just can't, man. We mesh so well together. I have no words.
Amen.
There's nothing that can describe it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it was in a way that I was not expecting, but the Lord, I think that's why God's got a sense of humor.
Oh yeah.
People may not always believe that, but I think he's got a sense of humor.
Oh yeah.
So, so I promise it'll come around full circle.
Right.
You gonna feel sometimes you're in a place, those of you who are single out there, that you're like, yeah, man, this ain't never gonna happen. It'll happen when you least expect it.
Right.
More than likely with a person you never saw coming.
Yeah.
It's kind of how he works. At least in my experience, and it sounds like it was your experience too.
Yeah, absolutely. So. I'll do a quick. I don't want to keep y'all too long. I'll do a quick rundown of the way we met. We both worked at Kmart. I was in high school, going into my senior year, and she had just graduated. So she was working in the shoe department, which was technically not for Kmart. They had a different company who did that. And she worked for them. So they usually did their own thing and we did our own thing. And I had seen her before, but we'd never had a conversation or whatever. And I worked with a lot of people I went to school with. So that's kind of who I hung out with Well, just so happened my manager one day sent me back because they had this huge influx of inventory and needed to get a lot of boxes broke down and stuff uncrated. And so we were in the warehouse of Kmart. And it was like, and I was the kind of guy that I didn't talk to you if you didn't talk to me. I was real kind of shy and backwards, unless it was my buddies around, or certain ones. It took a while for me to warm up to people. And, but it was like, we just started talking, and I'm not going to, because I don't have time to dig out. I'm not going to go into detail of the conversation, but either way, it was kind of funny how it happened. And then I kept thinking, I still had that high school look about me, I guess. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So to me, she just looked so much like not older, but like I thought, she don't want nothing to do with this little high school kid kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And out of my league, let's put it that way. And but anyway, so we kind of went our own ways, and then just so happened her and a girl that we worked with that I did go to school with and grew up with for several years, got to talking to her and getting to know her. And she come to me, that friend come to me and was like, man, she really wants to talk to you again. And so I was like, really? And it went to that. But if it serves me correctly, she asked me out the first time, which was kind of blindsided me. But hey, here I am. I was like, yes, I can do that.
So I was really slick with how I asked my wife out. And by that, I mean, it was not graceful whatsoever.
Uh-oh.
I'm like the epitome of awkwardness. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. So when I started finding out that I started getting feelings for her, I was like, you know what? I remember she was sitting at my mom and dad's kitchen table, and I was just sitting with her. And I'd went to a noodle place in Greensboro. I cannot remember for the life of me what it's called now. Mm-hmm. But I was just chatting this place up, right? Just trying to get her to go like, oh, I really want to try it. Well, boom, it worked.
Oh, wow.
And she's like, oh, I'd like to try that. I said, yeah, we should go. She's like, yeah, we should. I said, well, I'll text you. Well, she had it in her mind that it was supposed to be like the whole family.
The whole clan. Oh, slick.
And it was just me.
Uh-oh.
And to this day, we've never been to that noodle place, by the way. I don't even remember what happened, but we didn't end up going.
Oh, so you didn't make it?
No.
Oh, okay.
And then we were in Greensboro, it was a couple of years ago. And we went by the place. I said, hey, there's that noodle place. You want to go? She's like, nah, I'm good. And I'm like, that was supposed to be our first date. Our first date was at Los Arcos in Salisbury.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But yeah. And then the first, my wife's going to love this. She's going to love this. So the first time I'd ever tried to somewhat be funny with her. Because again, that whole incident happened where it was it was tense.
Yeah.
So
you had a lot of catching up to do.
I do. Well, I was over at my sister's. We were playing board games and stuff. It was like a Saturday night or something like that. And then we decided oh, let's watch a movie. All of us, let's watch a movie. And my sister was like, I'll put some coffee on. You want some coffee? And my wife, she's lactose intolerant. She's like, yeah, well, I'd like to have mine with creamer, but we don't have the right kind of creamer here. And I was like, oh, I'll go get it for you.
I can handle that. Yeah. I'm just a man for the job.
That's it. So I was like, she's like, oh, you don't have to. I was like, no, it's fine, really. I said, this is how I got her phone number.
Oh.
So I was like, yeah. I said, because I think we were just talking back and forth on Facebook or something like that. And I was like, yeah, just have my sister give you my number. I'm gonna go ahead and go on the food line. Just text me, and just let me know what kind it is. Well, she texted me, and then I texted back. I don't know why I was thinking this again. Epitome of awkwardness. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you. So, you know Super Mario Brothers, right?
Oh yeah.
It's a me, I'm Mario.
Yeah.
Well, I texted back. It's a me. That's all I said was it's a me.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, what?
Is that code for something? What's going on?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, then it got to a point. So like after we got married, she almost like wanted to get that framed and put in the house just as like a conversation piece. But no, that was the first text I ever sent her in my life was,
how fast did you hit save when her number came across?
Oh, dude, I was like,
I guarantee it. That's awesome. That's cool.
And we started chatting about the noodle place, which we never went to.
Yeah. Maybe one day, brother. Maybe one day. Maybe one day you'll make it to that noodle place.
I know.
I have confidence.
For the second time for me, anyway. I've already been once.
I think I've ate there as well. So,
Udon noodles, I think is what.
Okay, no, I hadn't ate at that one. There's something, I don't know what it is, but there's something up there called Noodles. Anyway.
You had to like, for whatever place it was, you have to parallel park because it's like on the main strip.
Okay, no, that's not the one I was thinking about. But either way.
Anyway.
That's cool.
Yeah. Well, we're at 40 minutes. Good night. All right. Well, longer episode today.
We need to wrap this up.
Any closing statements from you?
Hey, long story short, if there's anybody in your life that you care about and you love, make sure, not just on Valentine's Day, take time, on a serious note, take time to show them how much they mean to you. And if there's somebody, if there's somebody in your family that's feeling kind of down, make sure you take time to show them how important they are.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, a lot of times this time of year, people can get the Billy Grubs or whatever you want to call them. Maybe I said that wrong. If I did, disregard. But it just feeds that depression, anxiety, and I wonder sometimes. We always talk about how Christmas shoots that up. I wonder sometimes how this holiday does too. Because I know how it did with me.
Yeah,
it fed it when I was that way. But I want to tell everyone out there, you are not half a person.
Nope,
you're not half a person. You are complete the way you are. God loves you the way you are. And if that is your desire is to find someone else, and God, you feel that God is leading you that way, and that'll be your destiny one day, pray now like you already have them, and learn to work on yourself and be with yourself.
Yeah. So. Well, I cannot follow that up. In your words, mic drop.
There you go. And I'm so glad you dug out the hole, brother. I think you did anyway. I'm glad.
I mean, I'm married and got a kid, so I feel like I dug myself out.
I think you have. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm certainly blessed for sure. Mm-hmm. Certainly blessed.
Absolutely.
I do want to add real quick, again, just making sure that it's set as a precedent for your home. Because I know with me growing up, Valentine's Day, like I also knew like what it was, but I also took the extra time, like specifically for like my mom and my dad, just to show my appreciation to them too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because from them, like from me seeing how, dad treated my mom and my sisters for Valentine's Day,
there you go.
It just sets that precedent for your home.
Right.
Right. But anyways, guys, don't forget to like, share, comment. If you comment, A, it could potentially give us ideas. B, it can boost us in the algorithm so we get seen to more people.
There you go.
Subscribe if you're on YouTube. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss another upload, and like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and anywhere you stream podcasts.
Yes.
Anything else you want to add, bro?
No. Thank you, guys.
All right. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for all the support and all the engagement. We love you. We appreciate you. And if there's anything that we can do for you, please let us know.
Amen.
We love you. God bless. Hey guys, real quick before I let you go, this is Worship Pastor Tyler Bowles, and I'm also one of the podcast hosts here. I just want to take a minute to invite you to our services if you're in the Lexington, North Carolina area and you don't already have a home church. We have services on Sunday morning at 11 a.m. and Wednesday night at 7 p.m. We have programs in place for all ages, so please bring your family, tell your neighbors, tell your friends, have them bring their kids. We would love to get to meet you and connect with all of you and partner with you and believe with you for the things that you are believing God for. Because something very powerful happens whenever we gather together in one mind with one accord, because the Bible says then a suddenly happens. And I just want to agree with you and bind together with you for the suddenly moments, for those breakthroughs you may need. So if you were in the Lexington, North Carolina area and you don't already have a home church, the address is 117 Harris Road, Lexington, North Carolina 27292. Again, that is 117 Harris Road, Lexington, North Carolina 27292. We would love to see you. We would love to see your family. We would love to get to know you. We love you. We appreciate you. We are praying for you. God bless.